Did you see that go off, Wagner? I think it's only the screen going off, but just in case. I can come over here and hit the.
Anybody else wanna put their phones up here?
Hey, I'm special, leave me alone.
It is 6 PM, so we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Dean,
Here.
Edmonds,
He is on the cell phone. Adam, can you hear us okay?
okay. Grant.
Here.
Paige. Here, Gaston.
Awesome. Please join me in observing a moment of silence, please. Thank you. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. A copy of the Open Meetings Act is posted on the wall into the table here at the Legends Beach Golf Course Clubhouse. That was tough. It's also available in pamphlet form at the link provided within our minutes. We'll start with the consent agenda. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it looks like. First, approval of the November 24th, 2025 regular meeting minutes. Second, approval of the SDL at the Old Napa Building at 135 Main for the Tailgate Bar and Grill for Gailey, Anniversary Party, and Crawford Livestock Christmas Party from 12 p.m. on December 20th, 2025 to 1 a.m. on December 21st, 2026. Third, approve request for a city employee's assistance in installing the new awning at the museum. Fourth, approve Transportation Department providing a Christmas light bus tour on Monday, December 22nd, 2026, beginning, I'm sorry, that's gotta be 2025. Correct that.
So it's the Christmas party. That's one long party.
Oh, yeah, you're right, thank you for catching that, Laura. That would be a very long party. We'll approve it for one day, not 1 year and 1 day. Thank you. I'll start again. The fourth one, approve Transportation Department providing a Christmas light bus tour on Monday, December 22nd, 2025, beginning at 4:30 p.m. And E, we'll have 2 listed here. The second will go on to ordinance and resolutions, but we'll take care of the first within the consent agenda. E is approved Planning Commission, approved building permits for the following. Clayton Coling at 3571 Highway 20, tear down existing buildings and rebuild with a commercial metal pole barn for storage and offices. The second, Tony Johnson, we will be moving that one down to ordinance and resolutions, please. Do I have a motion for the consent agenda?
Clayton, do you have anything that you wanna add before we move
Propose
on?
any changes or anything like that, or just what my plans are?
Yeah, you could let them know.
Yeah, sure, I guess so. My business is Northwest Ag Supply, so I sell seed, biologicals, chemical, fertilizer, just ag things in general, I guess. And so wanted to purchase that property, or I guess I did purchase that property there along the highway with plans of tearing down all the old buildings and things like that, and putting up a new pole shed with some offices and things of that nature to have an office and places to do business out of instead of just my pickup up here. So that is my plan. Yeah, I guess that's the gist of it. I don't really have too much else to say.
Wonderful. And just as a reminder, the Planning Commission did approve that permit.
And have you reached out to the state about widening your approach yet?
Oh, no, I have not yet. Yeah, I didn't do that. Yeah.
And I have a question about the awning. Who is paying for that? Or
They are. They're
You
just
see,
asking for assistance.
we have
They've got
grant
funding.
money for that.
Good, okay.
They're just asking for an employee assistance.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda with, the corrections of the dates being all 2025, not 2026.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second. Okay, Dean?
Yes.
Paige? Yes. Yes.
Wonderful. We'll go ahead and move on. Reports, Park Cemetery.
Do you want to go first?
No, you go ahead.
Like employee. Park Board has met last week and we are, received the grills. We had a grant for the grills, and John Jones put those together for us. And Kevin and I went out and looked at them today and heavy duty, very nice, 4 grills. And figured out kind of where we're gonna put them, and he wants to get that done. Well, it's been an honor to get it done, and so awesome. Also, update from our tree inventory. So we did the tree inventory and we counted all these trees, but Hayden Bowers from the Nebraska Forest Service is working on compiling a report for us. So we're gonna do 2 things. So one is he'll give us a fairly detailed report to the people that helped count and then the park board, and then we'll bring it to you guys with a generalized overview of what does that mean for us. And that will tie into then this next community forestry grant that we're getting. So looking forward to that. I did receive resignation from Roger Campbell today. He said he's, just looking to focus on a couple less things, and I totally understand that he's still an ex officio member of our group, but we'll bring that forward to the group next time. And then I think Kevin has a really exciting piece of news, so new sort of equipment.
I'm not sure how exciting this is, but we did have a piece of equipment that was furloughed and stuffed in the corner of the building that we brought out and decided to refurbish. It cost us $160 to get a $4,000 sprayer up and going. So we have the sprayer that is functional and we'll be able to do many applications, whether it's going to be pesticides, fertilizing, or herbicides, a day, week. So it's pretty exciting to have that new piece of equipment in our arsenal.
Where did you find that?
We found that in one of our buildings in the park, and I had a volunteer to get the motor running, which he's able to do, and then to get the pump, which the motor runs. We just need a rebuild kit, which we went ahead and purchased for $160. We were able to rebuild it, get put together, and we took it out yesterday since it's really nice. We thought, we're not gonna see if it's working until spring, but we're able to take it out yesterday and do a test run and everything, and it's a wonderful piece of equipment. So
Very exciting. Thank you. Awesome. That's everything. Okay. Library.
Good evening. So to report back on November, we had 444 patronages and visits, circulated 463 materials, both physical and digital. We had 30 computer uses of our lab. And then moving on to upcoming events, the winter reading program is in full swing. As of yesterday, we have 15 participants, and one young patron has already raced and read his way to finish the Candyland style game board that it entails. He had so much fun, he's coming back around for another go at it. So I'm expecting probably a few more participants to sign up as the school winter break commences. So elsewhere, the holiday trivia night is coming up Friday, December 19th at 5 p.m. There will be 3 categories of holiday traditions, movies, and books. The library will be closed December 24th through 26th for the holiday, and then the following week through December 31st to January 2nd. Recently, the entryway had its renovation completed, so it looks highly respectable. It's got a fresh coat of paint that is not the color of egg salad or ambrosia. And it's got lovely carpet in there and it's lightly decorated for the season, so I encourage everybody who hasn't seen it yet to come see the difference. But there was 14 volunteers who helped with that over the weekend of the 21st for a total of 28 hours of effort. The project overall, we anticipated, well, we budgeted $1,600 for that project, and it came in at $1,058. So pretty well within budget, so to speak, though it did get charged to our library savings account rather than the regular budget, so it did not affect our regular budget in the usual sense. But thank you again to all the volunteers that helped with that. It makes a humongous difference in the library, the environment that it is. And then lastly, kind of have a question for the council. I wanted to check in with you guys. In my reports, I tried to provide what I feel are the vital statistics, the bits of information to demonstrate that the library is being utilized, and also to clue you guys in on what projects that we're currently working on at the library. I structured these reports historically to demonstrate that the library is relevant and useful, because that was once in question. So just wanted to check in with you guys, given that we don't necessarily get to have conversations very often. This is the key most opportunity for a dialogue. Just wanted to ask, are there particular elements, what else about the library or its operation could I include in these reports? How can I make these a more effective way to communicate with the board?
I feel like it's really thorough.
Yeah.
Personally, I think it's really thorough.
I think you need to let the rest of the people know how busy you are from 10 to what kind of things you do.
Oh, you mean like?
Yeah,
my
because
hours
you're
right
not
now?
just sitting around eating bonbons.
No.
Okay.
No, there's a common misconception that libraries have super cake, they're like librarians have a super cake job because they get to just constantly read. That's not the case. The polite way that I like to kind of downturn that to the public is I am never bored. But I actually personally have almost no time to read it. More for audiobooks, I never get to finish a book. But my work day, so the libraries are open 30 hours a week from noon to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. If there are events or meetings or things that take place outside of library hours that I have to attend, then I take the time it takes in those evenings away from the time that I use in the mornings. So traditionally, I'm at work in the morning from 9 to 10:45. So, and then I come in 15 minutes before opening to prepare it to open. But in those admin hours, as I call them, that's where I'm doing key work, the behind the scenes nitty gritty stuff that I otherwise might not have time to do in the day. Some of these tasks include grant writing, reaching out to vendors, connecting with presenters, preparing programming, developing the collection, revamping the areas of the collection that are organized so horribly. It's a wonder people find them all. And during those 6 hours of open time, I can, of course, continue to work on those projects. However, when the library doors open, you never know who's going to come through the doors and what they need. So the easy peasy patron, which is very rare, is the person who knows exactly what they want before they come in the library. They know exactly where to look for it, and they can almost check it out themselves. I would say less than half of, maybe like 1% of our total patronage is like that. The other end of that spectrum is a patron comes in on the brink of tears. Their husband has lost their job, and they've got 3 children to try to find additional childcare for, and also to help their spouse file for unemployment because they've never done it before. They don't know what that looks like or who to talk to because there's no one in town to do that with. So that patron might need an hour of attention to get all the resources and information to them that they need. So to clarify Councilman's point of how my time is utilized, I'm really doing my best to manage my time as strategically as possible. It is always my intention to be within the appropriate range. there's like 2 weeks out of the year where sometimes the scheduling is out of my control. But I am actively making moves to bring events and meetings that are outside of library hours into library hours. Because when it comes down to it, I feel personally that the library itself deserves the best of my time and effort. So all of my focus should be where it needs to be. But I remember when you were our liaison at one point, Mayor, and I was like, one day we're at a really steady upward trajectory right now of upward growth, and one day I will reach a plateau. And she very enthusiastically said at the time, which is maybe like a year ago, that, I think you're a ways off from that plateau. And that might have been the case, but I am at that plateau. I am there now. I have found that point in a exciting and enthusiastic way. I find myself often overwhelmed. If it weren't for the volunteers who help me get through some of these larger projects, I'd be very overwhelmed. But the shoes that I fill, because I don't think it's appropriate to say I wear many hats. Hats can be stacked. Shoes cannot. The shoes that I fill, I have to hop out of one set to get into the other, to do programming, to do presentations myself, and to be the librarian on top of all that. So.
Talk about the survey you have to do, we were talking about today.
Oh, yes. So you've heard me mention probably before, there's an annual survey that comes up at the beginning of each calendar year that is part of the Nebraska Library Commission's accreditation requirements for us. When it's printed out, it's 30 pages printed front and back, so 60 individual pages of library statistics. They want to know everything about how every cent of our budget breaks down, how many staff people we have, how many visits, what programs we put on for what specific age ranges, and how successfully attended they were or weren't, and also whether they were virtual or in person. And also how our collection breaks down. So that's data that I track all year long, every day, personally. And that will be a learning process because they just changed their platform again. So the first year I did it, I came on, I was reporting on a year that I wasn't there for. So that made me very familiar with how to keep proper records in the future. But it's an intensive process that now that I've had some practice and I've been taking the appropriate recordings, it takes me about a few weeks to finish. So, and just to also clarify something else is, I'm so fortunate to have a community so rich with volunteers and volunteers who are willing to help me out with projects. And from time to time, when I go on leave or anything like that, or if I have a doctor's appointment, there's people who hold down the fort, as I like to call it. And what they're doing is very base-most library operations. I might have a few smaller projects that they work on, but the other projects that I'm personally working on are so intensive that it's well beyond what a volunteer would be expected to do, in all fairness. So.
Just actually,
Yes.
explain your wagon wheel concept to the board, so everybody knows what that is, because that's huge, that's gonna be.
I don't know if it's fitting with my report because there's a side project that aligns with a lot of the library's concepts, but there's a project I'm working on personally for the benefit of the whole community. So I don't know
Okay.
that it's appropriate right now, but maybe next time during public comment, thank you. So, but yeah, so a brief day in the life of the librarian. I'm never bored. I'm always busy, and sometimes frantically so. I'm also really, really bad at remembering to take time off, and even when I remember, I have to really plan that in advance so that if I do have to close the library, that the community and the patrons have enough advance notice to know that their services are not going to be available. Because for a lot of people, when the library is closed, it means they have to go out of town for something then. So, any other questions about what it is to be a librarian?
On attendance, do you have a list of recurring people versus new that haven't stepped in foot in the library?
So the way that I track that is I do a simple tally head count, how many bodies come through the door and make use of the library. As far as patrons and whether they're regular or not, that would be more in our circulation statistics. Like I could pull up a list of all the patrons that check out books in a month, and then comparatively show how frequent they are in it or not. I've thought about doing like a patron of the month kind of thing before, but that's in development. So, well, great question. Thank you. I hope that answered what you were asking. Anybody else? I'm an open book. Okay, I'll leave it alone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Water and sewer?
Yeah, mine's gonna be a little more short and sweet than that. We helped with putting up the Christmas lights on the tree initially, and then we had a surprise inspection from the state rep, and he come in, and we've had our automation down for probably about 3 months now, and he basically told us that cannot fly. And so we put in ads, or wrote up an ad for that to get some bids. Hopefully we'll have bids by next council meeting, and we can work on actually getting some automation changes or fixes done, so that we're not staying there all hours of the night with running the plant manual. And then we are working on getting our last rounds of yearly samples for the sewer plant, that will help with our license renewal mid-year next year. And then I have the water loss report for the month of November. We produced about 2 million gallons of water. We sold just under that with 26,000 gallons of lost water, which is less than 1%, which is, again, on par with most towns in the state. And that's all I got.
Thank you, Dennis. Did you have anything to add, Edward? Okay.
No, we're just going through the motions.
Thank you. All right, we'll go ahead and move on. We're gonna go back to approving planning commission approved permits and revisit the final, or the second permit that's presented for Tony Johnson at 618 Pine Street. At that address, it will be the removal of a trailer house, and at the 613 Oak Street, it is the construction of steel building provided, updated proposal accommodating the 10-foot setback required by planning commission.
Okay, so, first of all, on, I can't remember which one it was, but, he's wanting to drill a well up there. So if you don't mind, I'll just read this
Sure.
to the whole crowd. So digging a well is allowed if it's just for lawn, garden, and irrigation purposes. You cannot hook this well up to a resident within city limits. It doesn't need a building permit or go to the planning commission. Only need to involve our public works commissioner, which is Dennis Croats. Dennis will approve it. The well must be dug by a licensed well driller. And that licensed well driller is responsible for registering that well with the state. So in November 2013, there was plans to come up with a permit and maybe a hearing process for the neighbors, but the reference to mandatory hookups does not specifically address a separate well for lawn and gardens. So this is what our, we have section 6-219 mandatory hookup. All persons whose properties abuts a water main is now or hereafter may be laid shall be required upon notice of the city council to hook up with the city water system. So, and then there's been a couple of wells drilled, one in 2009 and the other in 2013 in town. Those are the most recent wells. But so
yes, Tony is allowed to drill a well as long as, Dennis approves it. And then it is, drilled by a licensed well driller.
May I?
They never did, come up with a permit process for this, as far as I know. So,
Can I make a comment? There, several years ago, when I was active in real estate, there's one house in town that, and this is for their own benefit, they sent the sample into the state to get the quality, and it had so much uranium in it, they told them not even to water the lawn with it.
sure.
And so you might wanna have it tested for your own safety, to make sure that it's safe even for the yard.
Right.
And which lot is he built, want to drill that on?
It's the one on the corner of Seventh and,
It is 618.
The very
No.
top,
Wait,
the
it
very
is
end
613,
line.
sorry.
617.
618 is the bottom one.
yeah,
613
it's
is the
the
top one.
corner of Seventh and Oak, that property. So, as far as the rest of the, building permit goes, I just want to, we're gonna,
The planning commission
Right.
did request the 10-foot setback, so that is one
Yes.
change.
the 10-foot setback on application 2025-17,
On the north side.
North
which is the north side.
property.
And then we also need to set a hearing date for a conditional use permit for January 13th. Do we need to make that a separate motion, Adam?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's just do that right away then. I will make a motion to set a conditional use hearing for, our meeting, our regular scheduled meeting on January 13th.
Skip, could you also include in that the planning commission public hearing on the
Yes,
6th?
the plan, and we need to advertise for both, Terry, so,
I've already got the sign made, I've got
okay,
the letters all done, it's all ready to go.
okay.
Thank you.
And that's a motion.
The conditional hearings on what again?
So the conditional hearing is for temporary hooking up the trailer that's currently up there to the septic tank. And the agreement was for 1 year with
Option.
an option to
For an
extend
additional
1 more
1
year.
year. But if construction's complete, then.
Right, so the septic tank is not big enough for 2 structures, right? So, once the house is complete, then it's gonna have to be transferred. But we can cover that at the hearing on the 13th. So, motion to set a conditional use hearing for Tony Johnson on January 13th at 6 p.m.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Thank you, Diana.
Dean,
Yes,
Gaston, yes, Paige.
Okay.
so then the rest of the properties, we didn't have an issue with the 618 tearing down the trailer. Trailer's already down, and he's gonna haul that off when he gets to it. And for the application 2025-17, that's the 10-foot setback on the north side.
Yes.
Is there anything else that you ladies think we should add, or Jay?
I don't think so.
Okay,
Do I have a motion?
I put that in a motion.
Okay, do I have a second?
And that's just for the setback, correct?
That would be for both,
So
both
approving
those
the building
properties
permit,
Yeah, you just,
on the permits.
I wanna make sure that the well part's out of it so that.
Correct, it's
because
not-
I'm
it is
gonna
not
need to
included in
review
this.
that before I give a blessing
Correct.
on that.
and you're gonna have to, I mean, obviously, he's gonna have to tap the water main up there.
Yes, if he's getting into the water.
For the house.
Yes.
And that is not included in this,
Yes,
so you're
yes,
correct.
yes.
Yeah, there's a line goes clear down to 7th Street now.
Mhm. Right,
Good.
Or at least it's on the map.
So approval of the
Yeah,
building permit
the two building permits. Yeah.
with the adjustments that the planning commission
Recommended, sure. And that's a motion by Dean. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
By Paige?
Dean?
Yes.
Page? Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Planning commission, thank you for attending for clarification.
You're welcome.
All right, we'll go ahead and move on. Number 6, discuss, approve, disapprove resolution 2025-16 regarding adopting modifications made to the holiday leave list. I think we've got most of our members here for that meeting. We've got 4 of us that have been working on revising the employee policy manual, and we've come across the holiday leave list. And as we've just recently experienced, it's more of a nuisance than a privilege, I guess, at this point, the way we have it. We do have a couple dates on that list that are choices for employees to choose between. I think there's 4 of them that they have the choice right now, as it stands. That can kind of be a nightmare and a nuisance to track, and additional work for Terry and as a clerk. As a group, we've decided that we want to request to just have a list that is just a for sure list, nothing that's an option. So everybody gets the exact same days, no matter what. Nobody has the option to change or switch or anything like that, just to make it more concise and clear and more streamlined, especially for the clerk. We did provide, I believe, what Sharon is what Adam shared with us of what they have for dates. At this time, we have 8 or 9 with an option of 2 more. Or we have 8, with 2 of them being the selected options. So if we go to what we request, it would make it 10 then, correct, if I remember correctly. So it would change it to 10, but it would be kind of a more permanent, finalized, everybody has consistent list, everybody gets the exact same days. A lot of what our thought process behind that is the days that were selected as option days or days you could switch are days that even if you do choose to be in the office, you're not gonna get a lot of work done. There's not a lot of offices that are even gonna be open or functioning. So we're still paying for the help, whether we're getting help from them or not, is kind of the standard that we looked at it as. And if there's anything else you guys wanna add to what you guys remember that we discussed, we feel more to.
It's more in line with what other cities are doing.
Yeah, that too.
The major big difference is Arbor Day versus Veterans Day. We elected to go Veterans Day in our list, Arbor Day. And it just cleans it up from, if I take this off, I get this day after Thanksgiving off. If I don't take that, then
Right.
and that's just.
And that's a lot to keep track of, and if any of our employees forget, or the clerk accidentally forgets, that's a nightmare to clean up later because it involves payroll. So anything that we can just make more streamlined and consistent is what we're hoping to do with this list. Any questions?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2025-16.
Okay, Dean with the motion. Do I have a second? Paige?
Dean?
Yes.
Paige? Yes. Yes. And then EMS.
Okay, number 7, discuss, approve, disapprove resolution 25-17 regarding adopting modification to sick leave for part-time employees per Nebraska Healthy Families and Workplace Act on October 1st. This is new legislation that came down this last fall that we are updating what we do so that we are in line with the state. I have a motion.
Mayor?
Yes,
Before you,
or questions?
I think it's the third whereas, the new ATC requires 40 hours of pay at the same time. I think you want to add per year for part-time employees after working any consecutive year. The per year
Terry says she agrees, and you have where you can make a note.
That's correct, 11 to 19 employees, then part-timers are 40 hours, and over that, it's 50.
Okay. So we're good as it reads?
I can add the 40 hours, but, I mean, it's.
It does
is
say
what the
40 hours.
statute
It
says.
says 40 hours within the resolution.
He said per year.
Oh,
Per year.
It is per year.
So we just need to add per year after the 80 hours?
Oh,
No, you're good on the bottom part. It's the second, third whereas.
Third, yeah, there we go.
40 hours of paid sick time per year
Okay.
for part-time employees.
thank you, I read through a lot of
It just clarifies.
All right. We'll make note of that. Did you want me to read that as a whole then? Okay. Do I have a motion to approve with the addition of per year?
We don't have to approve it.
It's a state law.
Yeah, we do have to. Even though it's a state law, we still have to put it in our resolution. Because it changes our.
It's required.
Yeah.
This is part-time, not seasonal.
It's part-time, and we believe seasonal, except for agriculture, is exempt.
Is exempt. Is that what you said? Okay. Yeah. I just trying to clarify that.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2025-17 with the per year amendment.
Thank you, Dean. Do I have a second? Paige is a second.
Dean,
Yes.
Page? Yes.
Oh. Okay, number 8. We have been working towards golf course, or golf cart ordinance. There's still a handful of items that need to be done. We still need to work out stickers and details and whatnot, but this type of ordinance does require 3 readings if we'd like.
We'll just read it by title first time.
Okay. First reading would be, do we have an ordinance number on this? Or would it be
We
18?
want to talk about amending it first before we start, or not?
No, you just read it, you can, and then have discussion about amending, what you
Okay.
want to amend for second reading.
Okay.
I don't know.
Golf cart and low-speed vehicle ordinance. An ordinance of the city of Crawford, Nebraska, creating chapter 3, section 3-423 relating to golf carts and low-speed vehicles to allow the operation of golf carts and low-speed vehicles within the corporation limits under certain circumstances, to impose restrictions on the use of golf carts and low-speed vehicles, to establish penalties for violation, to repeal conflicting ordinances, and to provide for the publication of this ordinance and prescribe the time when this ordinance shall be in full force and effect.
Yeah, that's good. Now, Steve, you can talk about what you want to add, change.
Okay, so after we adopt this ordinance, then we'll, pass a resolution setting the annual fee. Is that how I read that?
At the same meeting, we'll have the resolution. So we're doing it 3 times, so everybody can have their say.
Sure. And then, what's that next one? Does this accurately describe something to
That
cross?
Cross the
just
trail.
deals with- That just deals with crossing the state highway, which is illegal by state law, driving down, you can cross. So that's why it's defined that way. I see that Terry asked a question about the trail. Trail will have a sign, it'll be just like driving around town, you still gotta obey the law. So
Sure,
I don't think there's any addition needed there.
okay. And then what about, what should go there to, for
We can-
revocation of the permit if needed?
Just wanna discuss road group locating, we can certainly put that in for the second reading and go from there.
Okay.
I thought that was something we really wanted, is to prevent people from driving the trail, a no
Yeah.
tolerance rule, so
Mhm.
it looked to me like we needed some teeth in there.
I agree.
Keep in mind that people will be subject to traffic tickets if they violate traffic laws.
Sure. I guess I'm just thinking about driving on the trail anywhere that's not authorized. That would constitute, getting your privileges, cause this is a privilege.
Right.
Revoked.
Sure,
Correct.
We'll have we can have language for second reading for you guys to talk about.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's all we need to, do you ladies have anything else you wanna add to it?
So can we get this done in the next 2 meetings?
No. Because it still has to,
Yeah,
well, it,
you'll have,
I guess that is 3.
you'll have
if we have to.
2 more readings.
2 more readings, so 2 more meetings?
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
we just asked,
January.
so 2 more meetings,
However,
the end of December and the January one. I feel like ever since I moved to this community, this has been an issue. I'm sick and tired of it, quite frankly.
Well, I will just say and remind everyone that there is no part of government that moves fast. And patience is always appreciated, because it does take a while to go through everything and make sure that it's done. That we've done our due diligence to make sure that it is something that can upstand some time and be okay for all.
What are we worried about? What is the main concern? I know the trail, but what other than that, what else?
let me ask Adam a question here. So Adam, do these have to be consecutive, the readings, the 3 readings, do they have to be in consecutive meetings?
They should be consecutive, and keep in mind, you can also waive the 3 readings at your second meeting.
Well, the next item on the agenda is ordering the stickers, right? And so,
That was part of my thought on the 3 readings, because you've got public input, and
Sure.
you've got to get our
Right.
infrastructure in place, or our administration in place, before we approve this finally.
Because in addition to the stickers, we'll need a permit form. I mean, we'll have to have something that we're okay with them completing for us to, she has something drawn up, but we'll need to approve what.
You'll have to approve the form, and the form looks fine, I've looked at it.
Yep.
The stickers need to be ordered when you give them the go-ahead to order them, and we'll be ready to go. First meeting in January, if you approve it, we'll be ready to go.
Is there a place we can look at it, this ordinance?
Yeah, as far as the ordinance, that should be, public in the, agenda that they can look at City Hall, right, Adam?
Absolutely, public document.
So it should be available, just like with our minutes and agenda that's at City Hall. Yep. Oh, there too. But if you wanted to come down, not during a meeting, it would be available at City Hall.
So can I ask a question about, if someone's on the trail where they're not supposed to be, what evidence constitutes a revocation in York? Because I don't know that the sheriff watches the, I mean, it's not a street.
Sure.
So what kinds of evidence are you guys thinking about, or have you got that far?
would photographic evidence suffice, Adam?
You'd have to have a date.
Maybe, if you saw something, you need to call law enforcement, it's their job to enforce it, so. You know, the problem with photographic evidence is, time, date stamps, and all the things that who was driving, it could be used, it would be certainly circumstantial evidence that we would use if we need to.
I mean, we're not taking somebody to court, we're just revoking their permit and sending Travis out to scrape the sticker off their golf cart.
Well, we'll talk more about the revocation, we've got to be careful with that.
Okay. Okay.
Is this just for golf carts, or is this like golf carts, ATVs, 4-wheelers?
So the state is working on a bill that will require ATVs to be licensed in Nebraska finally. But no, this is for golf carts and low-speed vehicles only.
This is based on statutes as they stand right now.
So you're not, you can't drive your golf cart out on the highway, you can't go, drive it to Shadron.
Yeah.
It's just for inside the city limits of Crawford.
Do you have a permit for ATVs and four-wheelers in town already? Okay.
Not at this time, right, Adam? We don't have an ATV or four-wheeler permit at this time.
We have an ordinance that allows, as long as you follow the terms of the ordinance, you don't have to get a permit for that.
Did you hear what
What's
Adam
that?
said?
No.
He said we do have an ordinance that pertains to both those vehicles, but you have to, of course, abide by that ordinance and what, it's really close to just what your normal vehicle driving.
Have you had your public input form yet, or is that done yet? You said there's a public input
Not actual forum.
forum?
It's a second meeting.
That's the
This is
second
just-
meeting.
Yeah, this is just the first one. so.
Okay.
I thought Missy said there was only like 10 people that this was gonna affect.
Probably.
For the golf course?
Well, but it could potentially, like, if she's probably referring to 10 members that would have
Right.
carts in town that would drive them out to the golf course. But this can affect anybody in town. I mean, if you have a golf cart and you wanna drive it down to the post office to go deliver some mail, after this passes, then you would legally be able to do so. So this is more than just the golf course and who their members are.
Some of the main drivers behind this are not golfers.
Right. But it still requires you have to have insurance on it. You have to have a Class O license minimum. So if you can't, if you're not capable of acquiring those two things, you can't get the permit to drive it anyway.
Yes, true.
Any other questions or concerns? Okay. We will move on to number 9. Discuss, approve, disapprove proposed golf cart permit sizes and pricings, as well as review and consider approval of the golf cart registration form. There should be more
So,
specifics. in
th-
there.
This one here, Terry, is this the one that you think we should go with?
Yeah.
Or, yes?
That's the large one.
The form looks okay to me.
Okay, thank you, Adam.
This one right here, this is what Jody wanted, just read.
No?
She told us today.
Oh.
Like that.
Because it's wrote right next to it, large.
But that's the size. Any of them can be in that size.
She liked
We'll
that
be
one.
reflective with numbers on it, and then, an expiration date on there is what we were planning. And the size is like 4.5 by,
3.5?
yeah,
Or it looks like 4 3/4 by 3.5.
there, you
So it'd almost be larger than a state park permit, which would be good to see.
go, like, yeah.
We have a
So-
standard place to put it?
That'll be decided, Adam, as far as a standard place that they need to be applied, that'll be part of,
The resolution.
the resolution, correct?
We can do that in the resolution.
Okay,
Yeah.
So I guess my only question, Terry, is can it just say golf and not UTV, because we don't want
Oh, yeah,
people
we
to-
haven't say anything on there.
Okay,
That's just an example of what it would look like,
okay.
in essence, so we could, yeah, whatever we wanted to say.
And then how many do you think we need to order, 50? What's the
I think we
minimum?
were gonna do a lot of 50, yeah, I think that
that'd be
was
a good start.
I think 50 would be appropriate to start.
Yeah, there was,
Everybody in town's gonna go buy one.
$50 a piece.
No, a golf cart, I mean.
Oh, well, we figured that. Well, we're gonna make it. we're
Gated
making-
community.
to pay
We're
for
gonna
the
sell our
stickers.
surplus.
Yeah.
Golf cart. Sell a surplus one.
You know, we should probably put one on.
one of the senior center employees, she drives a golf cart. So she likes to drive a golf cart. So she has to get the old license, he said,
That's just a regular driver's
Your
license.
normal
Right.
driver's license.
Yep, so you're just,
and make it insured, and then she goes to the city to
Yep.
get
You have to have,
Permit.
the
I'll,
permit.
I'll tell you here. Hold on just a second. The operator of the golf cart or low-speed vehicle shall have a valid Class O operator's license issued by the state of Nebraska and shall provide proof of liability insurance coverage, which shall be subject to limits exclusive of interest and cost as follows: 25,000 because of bodily injury or injury to or death of one person in any one accident, and subject to such limit for one person, $50,000 because of bodily injury to or death of two or more persons in one accident, and $25,000 because of injury or destruction of property of others in any one accident.
So Beef State has probably all of that information.
We'll make sure that they have it when we
Yet
pass
she would
it.
go
and-
in and ask them.
and those are common liability standards. A lot of those are driven by state,
Those are the state statutes.
yeah, state statutes, so. Yeah, so as long as you tell them you need liability, that should still match to that. Any other questions or concerns?
What fee are we gonna charge? That's where I was headed, we just need to verify the fee.
What we'd like to charge annually? I think originally we had thrown around $50, but I don't know where we went from that.
I think 50 sounds reasonable, because you have your trail fees out here at 150, so that'd make it 200 for them, if they're just driving to and from the golf course.
Okay. Well,
So I think.
I think a lot of
50
this is
sounds reasonable.
independent of the golf course. I don't know that we need to worry
Yeah, well,
too
I
much
don't know
about
about the ones in town, but I
Sure.
was just thinking the ones coming out, if you raise it too much.
how that adds up. Sure, thank you.
I put 50 in the permit and on the ordinance, just as a spoken spot for it. I
The
went
final
down,
amount will be approved till you do the resolution.
Okay,
what was that?
the final fee amount won't be approved until we do the resolution.
Oh,
So, Patty or Diane, what do you think about the stickers?
That's fine. Which one are you going with, the blue or the red? All right, the red color, but I see. You're going with one Jody liked or the one that Terry likes?
no, that's not, but I like it, I
When you
was
put
going for
this
the
in-
large example.
Oh, who did this one?
This is just, the whole thing stuff.
Oh, okay.
Just to
Oh,
show you all the rates and fees,
Gotcha.
and then we put some sampling of some others, and you'll see it's in the top three.
Yeah.
We're looking for the bigger one.
Right, right. It makes sense.
On your color, you do need to take into consideration the multicolored carts. There's some that are red, you won't see a red sticker very easily. Not
Isn't there a
everybody has,
windshield or-
not everybody has windshields, there's the capability, but not everybody has those.
No matter what color we pick, somebody's gonna have it.
Yeah, most bumpers of the golf carts though are black, so. but-
Well, and the one with the white stripe through it is kind of nice because that always ends up kind of being like a white silver, and that's always quite highly reflective.
Maybe we should ask Travis.
So are
Travis?
these permanent, or are they gonna have to be changed every year?
They're very similar to what you bought, what you purchased to go participate on anything on state of Nebraska lands. So like you have your park permit, where you put it in your windshield, and you can leave it there and collect them all if you want, or you
So
can
you
take
could
them off.
change colors every year, so it'd be easier for the
That's probably
the
ideal.
officers to understand what they are,
That would help.
and be able to
Leslie,
see. And
correct?
then the other question is, are you gonna do this like Nebraska State and give them out on their day of their
No,
birth?
so the ordinance reads that it is from January 1 December 31.
So if you buy it in June first, it's still only good for
Only good
6
for this
months,
year.
it won't be prorated or nothing.
If you buy it
that's-
December 1st,
Yeah,
you gotta buy a new permit come
maybe that's
January.
legit. Yeah, and just change your color every year, and then you need to tell the police officer
Travis.
what they are.
Travis, would you come look at what we have for examples and see if there's any that stand out to you as more appealing to be visually? What you're looking for, what might work in your best interest? Yeah, she's got it.
Either way, I think this is fine. Color's gonna denote the year, the evening, and then if we need to, we can zone it, we say, okay, here's your permit number, great, and, everything else on that number, you know, would be, oh, good, now that I've got you stopped, we can grab the hackers here, which hackers be, which is, they said.
Yeah.
So, well, I think having the expiration date on there is needless, only because.
I guess the color's gonna do it, yeah.
That here. So, that is just my thought. Now, the other thing I have heard before, golf carts can't cross the highway.
We did say that at the beginning.
It's in the ocean.
It's an ordinance,
Right,
yeah.
right. How are they gonna get to the golf course?
We're working
talking
on
about
a trail that brings them,
Through the city park, like way behind?
no, probably back here by the old.
Okay. And then they can't cross the White River Trail, right?
They'll
That
have
there,
to.
there will be a very narrow lane where they
Designated.
can go straight across, and that's it, nowhere else. And that's the other thing,
We're
while we're
looking for
talking about
signage,
this.
signage for that too, so that way they know that they need
I
to
got
stop.
signs, so I'm not giving them to you till you're ready for them.
There's, the horses that ride the trail, that is illegal, that is trespassing, so just FYI.
Yeah, yeah, except for your teenage check. We're putting that in those, right?
Yes, ma'am.
But again, these are one of those issues where, I think the color is perfect.
Okay,
You don't need to make this overly complicated,
okay,
and go from there.
all right.
I think an expiration date on there, just so that people understand.
We need the numbers.
For the
Well,
public
again, I think
to
the color
realize
speaks
that it only
volumes.
lasts for so long.
Ultimately, it's really good in detail.
Okay.
Put in, you know, if you want.
And if you stop somebody driving who has a permit, but they're not the person with that did the, you know.
Oh, the owner of the cart
somebody's like
type.
a 16-year-old
Sure,
driver.
sure. As long as that person is authorized to drive it and they have their driver's license on them, you can treat this just like a regular four-wheeler, stop where, okay, you have 5 days to show proof that this golf cart is legally insured.
Sure.
Okay,
So that seems reasonable also.
okay. Perfect.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Thank you,
If we
Sharon.
just give it to you guys to know the law.
Absolutely, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, you'll give us, you know, your, let's say, new issue permit 001. All right, here's the template for this year. And then we know exactly what we're looking for.
Perfect.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. that would be good.
So, what do you ladies think?
Do you have to do that now?
Well, we've primarily been talking about the top right, Diane.
Well, but he just said that, we don't need as much like that top right has. What's similar to something like this, which we can get in different sizes. So I mean, we can go with that large one, we can take off the expiration date, the UTV. They'll go with, cause that's.
It'd still be good to have the year on it, just because
Yeah.
your average, like if somebody has one on there and they can't remember when it was whatever, I don't,
Don't
it
you
just
think
helps
the
to.
permit number should be the size of the 2020?
I don't think the permit number even needs to be on there, because they don't need to know what permit number they are, that'll be on their application and
Well,
on
if
all the
somebody
files
took
down
a
the city.
picture and saw number one.
For like
permit number one,
reporting.
Then the officer or anybody could come to us and say,
I guess,
who has permit
yeah,
one?
that is a good, I mean, yeah, so if somebody snaps a photo of somebody doing something bad, then they
Have your
could
last 4 digits of your permit.
put it to the permit number, so yeah, we could do it that way for that reason, that's a good,
Just
good
for
point.
us to pay for it.
Sure.
I see that.
All right.
Yeah, cause even your marks right there.
Right, it does.
Be
Okay.
here for me.
Right. So we just could put the year as a whole, okay. Oh, it's up there. No.
What did he say throughout the year?
Just having the year on there would be enough,
Oh,
because
okay.
they'd all expire on
December.
at the end of December, so just having the year on there would be enough.
Yeah, that's true.
So that would answer your question, Jenny, about, yeah, if you find golf cart out there where it shouldn't be, the permit number would be,
How you could report that too.
that would be another good picture to have.
Yeah. Okay.
Zoom in.
So-
And then the picture itself shows it all.
Top right, or?
Yeah, top right, and we'll just make those modifications to it.
Okay.
Sounds good.
And if for some reason they don't work out, then the next year we can make it.
Okay.
So
So the
then,
red top right.
the registration form,
Adam said he approved what the ladies had drawn up and that he was comfortable with it.
The only thing is it needs revocation language.
Adam, did you hear that? Terry was concerned about adding the revocation language at the bottom of that paragraph.
We will approve this, we'll approve the resolution approving everything.
Okay.
okay, so then right now, all we need to do is approve to order 50 stickers.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Just gonna-
Okay, Dean,
Yes.
Paige?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, number 10. Discuss, approve, disapprove how the city will process donated funds to the pool.
Oh, that's me. Neil, he's here. So it was left at the last meeting to find out how those funds would be transferred over. So what we would do is, because we've already set aside grant funding for the state, so that's how we could fall in there. So what would happen is Bill would come in, here's the bill, we donate the money, I put it in the donation field, and turn right around and write the check out of it. And so that way, then it's tracked all the way through, and there should be no questions on how that's done. And that was the only question left from the last meeting, how we move that money around.
So they'll go ahead and submit the bills as they do, the city will pay, and then after we've paid, then you guys will reimburse the city through the funds raised.
So will it need to be run through the city council, through the city council? The city council?
Like a normal bill through the city council meeting.
So it'd be for us, better for us to submit it the Friday before you guys have a meeting, correct?
Sooner, the
The
minute you
sooner
get
the
it.
Yeah,
Because I
yeah.
do stacks like this, and then I give them the packet to sign them, and that will be included in here. So
Okay.
the sooner you give it to me, so that I have time to get it all for the next meeting. It is the case.
We're good?
Yeah.
Adam, does that need to be, a motion, or are we good for just clarification?
You're fine.
Okay. Number 11, discuss, approve, disapprove permitting pool committee to break ground at the city pool. That was in the holdover from the last meeting, right?
Yeah, and it was, brought my attention, I should have made that two different deals, because we need approval from the city to go ahead and open it up and to trespass upon your property, yes. We need the approval from the city to wait to start work on break ground.
Do you guys have an estimated date when you're gonna try and start that? Not yet.
Last I talked to him, I was gonna wait till after this meeting, last I talked to him, middle of this month, but it's right there, so. I don't know whether, I'm sure. But tomorrow I'll make a phone call, so
Okay.
we get approval.
Any other questions, concerns?
I don't have a problem with it.
Motion?
I'll make a motion that we permit the pool committee to break ground at the city pool.
In a second?
I'll second the motion.
Paige?
Yes.
Gaston?
Yes.
And Dean?
Yes.
Thank you. New business, number 12. Discuss, approve, disapprove clarification and reaffirmation of planning commission's authority to engage in active municipal planning beyond permit review, presented by Jay Province.
So, I guess the thing for me is, I've been here about 3 years now, I think, and Crawford is a great city. I think everyone would speak well of it. We're a population of about 800, maybe 900, you get different numbers. That's really not viable for a small town. We lose businesses, we don't have a grocery anymore. And the research I've done, the viability number is really somewhere about 1,400 really, before a town can really be considered like self-propagating and it can grow. Below that, you're always teetering or you're going backwards. In our comprehensive plans that exist, there were 4 different scenarios that were found when they did the numbers and everything. For the growth of Crawford over, per year, it was like 0.25%, which on 800 people is only about 4 people a year. The other 3 scenarios has losing population. And so the best scenario was, wow, you guys can get 4 people a year, and so maybe by 2,100 you would be 1,000 or something. So I think one of the things that we really need to do is plan. We need to start looking at how we're going to move ahead as a town. And we don't really do that in the Planning Commission right now. There's no real active planning. We do have a comprehensive plan. We don't really ever talk about it. We just have permits that come up. So it's kind of reactive. We're not really proactive looking at what's coming. And the recent one that we had with Tony up there, and just call it what it is, in the comprehensive plan, it's called the blighted area. And that's all dirt roads up there. We have dirt roads. I know there's history to why roads got paved or didn't get paved. But that land really can't be developed in any positive way without getting paving. I did a little research. This is kind of aside. I'm just saying what might be possible. We're not actively pursuing grants, and some of the grants are pretty good. Like I did the math on that up there. It would be like $1,200,000 to pave the streets up there. However, you can get grants like 90% of that. The town would have to match, so maybe for $100,000, all of that can be paved up there. And you would have time. First of all, you have to get the grants, and then you have 2 or 3 years before you actually have to come up with the money, and that's also a waste of money. So to me, that's what a planning commission would do, is it would proactively look and identify problems and issues and where we want to go. And so I think on the insert there kind of talks about that. I think that we need to have goals, like what is, how big do we want to get? What are our industries going to be? You talk about things too, about businesses. I know Charlie's Garage, he would like to sell, He can't find someone to sell. I did some research on that, talked to him. Ideally, to me, you would want someone who's maybe like 30 years old, has a family, and someone maybe from the I-25 corridor, because I did research on that. They pay about $300,000 just to lease their garages when they do it, and they drive 25 minutes or 45 minutes to go work in their garages. So someone like that, there might be someone really interested if we targeted them and researched and put ads out in places. Hey, we've got a great business here. You get to walk to work. It's up and going. So we need to start looking at that. How do we bring people here? How do we bring businesses here? So that's my main goal there, is to, I guess, get the approval of the town to kind of reassert that, yeah, we do want to plan. Now, how that comes about, that would be at the direction of town council. I mean, the planning commission can kind of spearhead it, or you can do things like, there's a couple of ideas here. It talks about the first 10 families, you target getting 10 families here. You pave the roads, you get a strike force going, which could be working underneath the planning commission and get people in. Planning commission members could be on it, town council members could be on it. But that's to start looking at what our properties are, what's available, what needs to be developed, that kind of stuff. Come up with a plan for how we're going to grow, how we're going to bring people here. So I'm going to stop there if there's any questions.
So it's my understanding that paving the roads isn't necessarily, the city isn't gonna get a grant for that. That has to be through a paving district. Is that correct, Adam?
Maybe district or the city itself could fund that. That'd be a city function.
And then something also to keep in mind, you referenced that specific blight area, and that specific area does not have all the infrastructure underneath it. It has some, but not all of it, so that would have to be considered too. It's not just paving, it's actually putting in the infrastructure to finish that area too.
Well, the first step of blight is getting a blight study, and I think the last one was done in, it's been many years.
19.
And that's how you get grants, is you have to do a blight study, and the planning commission would not do the blight study. You would have to hire somebody to do the blight study, and then the planning commission would review the blight study and share as the advisory board, would share their thoughts to the council for approval going forward.
So the blight study was done in 19 and they're valid for 10 years, is that correct?
I think so, but we probably have to check on that.
Yeah.
We've got it on file. City's got it.
Right, we've got it on file, yeah. And then the comprehensive plan that we have was done in 17, and that, I believe, is a 10-year plan too. And of course, you know, we're going into the year of 2016, it's gonna need to be redone sooner than later, so this is perfect timing to wanna initiate, you know, maybe the process of.
But PAD usually handles that.
Right, but yeah, I mean, if you wanna be involved in that process, I don't think that's anything that's a problem.
Well, last time they set up
It would
board,
certainly be fine with the planning commission to move forward with reviewing the comprehensive plan. They want to start working on an update.
usually PAD came up and they set up boards in the bank and asked the public what they wanted. And that's how this one was developed.
Sure.
It's public input, it's not planning commission input. We just provided the format through PAD to do it.
Right, but if
The
you
city
wanna
had to
be
pay for it.
But the
the
city.
gas
could
behind
initiate
it, you could be.
Well, they have to have it done for their grants and stuff.
Right. that's
It's
what
a
it is.
required thing.
We could initiate it.
So
Well, we got one in effect till it expired.
I agree, where Tony's building, I mean, that's probably some of the most sellable property in town if it was, if there was paving up
yeah.
there, infrastructure. On that side of the tracks, we have no storm sewer except for
That's
at the
a lot.
viaduct. So like all of Main Street, everything over there runs down, that's why the viaduct floods out. Elm Street, that needs paved too,
Well, and the sewer
on
line,
that side,
the sewer lines don't extend clear to 7th Street either.
right.
There's a
Well,
massive amount of money that would have to be
There's,
spent.
well, we'd need to work substantially to raise a lot of the dirt roads that are there too, because they've been just dirt for so long that there are intersections there that have lost 2 to 3 feet worth of dirt, and that are exposing things underneath. So it wouldn't so much be a fresh scratch place to stay, but to start, I guess, is a good way to put that.
And that is in our 1 and 6 plan, and we made sure we got that in there this last year, so it makes it eligible for grant money.
If we came across the money.
But from what the engineers tell me, there's maybe $250,000 in grant money for actually paving streets. There's all kinds of money out there for water, sewer, all that stuff. But as far as paving it, not a whole lot of money available.
Well, I guess for me, it's not so much even what we start on, it's, is this what we're doing? Are we gonna come up with a plan? I understand that we've had studies done and things like that, but are they a living, acting, breathing part of the town? Are they constantly referred to and updated? Do we have people who are working on the process for things like this? My research shows something different, I could be wrong, but it shows that there is money. And I think about places like Omaha and Lincoln, who they don't ever seem to have problems getting money, and yet they're just places in Nebraska like us. What I think they do have are dedicated employees and people like that who are constantly, basically, suctioning off the money that's available. Money is available but you do have to kind of dig and find it and research it. And it's also, again, it's just what's our plan? Do we want to grow? And if we do, it's more than just do we pave the streets, it's how do we convince people to move here? How do we convince them that this is a good place to live? And part of that is being able to even to show, maybe 5 years from now, 10 years from now, we have a plan to address those issues. And go, you know what? I like a lot of this not so much that I see it's an active town and work. So really it's about opening up a conversation in Crawford about, who are we, where are we going, and are we okay with things? And as a businessman locally, I know that there's lots of things that might be possible to do and that we can do, but we need to kind of up our game a little bit to be able to bring people here. Because I'll tell you, when I was working on Charlie's Garage, okay, and I was talking to ChatGPT about it, do a lot of talking to Chat. And it's talking, it goes, yeah. And then it says, interestingly, it says, but if you think anybody from that corridor is going to move to Crawford with the condition things are in, you're crazy. It's kind of scary when AI tells you something because it doesn't have an agenda. And it's just looking at facts as they are, and it's like you've got to up your game. You've got to show people, because people from those areas are used to having services. There's a lot of problems with that, but we don't need to win every game. We just need the right people to live here. If we can get 200 people, if we can get, like I said, the first 10 people that you target, well, who are they? You find, we actually purchased the house next door to us, April's old house. One of our intentions there is just to have that available for workmen, of course, B&B and stuff, but also for guests. You can come, you can stay in that house, you can visit the city for 2 days, something like that. But you need to be able to show them something. We've got a great park system, a lot of great things involved. But sometimes some things can be up. And so that's more things opening up a discussion and having the planning commission just kind of start that. It would be extra work for them somewhat, maybe an extra meeting a month. And I think that also other people could be pulled in if they want to be involved. But it's just starting a discussion, just reiterating that yes, we do want a plan, we do want to use our comprehensive plan, we do want to integrate this into a town vision.
The reality of the situation, OJ, and I'm not here to poo-poo this at all, but the reality is we live in a depressed community or depressed area. We're living off of one industry, and that's pretty much farming and ranching, and maybe a little bit of tourism, but not that much. So we don't have the budget for advertising, we don't have to work with outside of what they can do to just sustain this going. So somehow, some way, somewhere, and I was kind of hoping that's where we get some of these grants coming in. We need to get some of that money that goes all into the east part of the state, and we don't get hardly any of that to come out here just because we lack the population. So, there's a lot of federal funds we miss out on. There's a lot of we have an older community. We don't have very many businesses downtown. The buildings that are there that we could use are either being used for storage or they're just left to rot. And they need a substantial amount of money to rebuild a bunch of those. So our biggest issue is getting funds into here and figuring that out. We need to figure out how we get funds from the east part of the state to here. That's where we need to start. If we're gonna fix this, we've gotta come up with getting money here.
I understand what you're saying. I kind of respectfully disagree. I think we're going to start with this plan, and part of that is getting grants and is getting and it's inviting people. I mean, my wife and I came out here, and I know people feel like, oh, well, Teddy's building, what's he doing over there? Vacant. I'm not going to be pressured to move along or do anything that isn't going to be good and isn't going to be, a credit to the community. So like that restaurant that we're opening, when that opens, I'm not going to be the cook, probably. I mean, I want to bring a chef here. I want it to be top notch because that's the kind of anchor that this town needs. My mom managed malls, and she always talked about anchors. You needed your belts. You know, you needed something to move in, and then you filled in with Orange Julius or whatever, you know. And that's what we need here. We need a few good businesses. I was talking today to some of the beekeepers, I guess you'd call them, and I was surprised, and I've done some research on that. We have a significant, for some reason, Crawford has a significant population of beekeepers who are producing honey. And I talked with him at some length about maybe get the balloon factory land, having a little compound that did bee products, took in the honey, took in the wax, you sold it, you brought in from people and took, because right now he sells it at, I think like $2 a pound. And he says if he could do it himself, he sells it to a big person, you know, a big company, that he could get 10 times that, okay?
When you say he, which bee company are you referring to? Because we have multiple in town.
That's what I'm talking about. I mean, if you really, you know, I'd like to keep it kind of private there.
Sure.
But yes, we do have a couple. And what they do is, like Gibbons sells it pretty much themselves. They have a higher
Right.
markup. The other company, what they do is bring it in and sell it to whatever.
Ship it off.
Yeah, and they don't get nearly the money. Now, that's just an idea. We can build, like we were talking about, agricultural kinds of things, ranching. You can take some of those industries, but there's also enormous potential for people who would like to live somewhere nice and work from home. Okay, that's just outsourcing. My daughter could do it. She works for a company that basically sells large software to people who manage apartment buildings and things like that. You know, your roots do. But she can easily, in the right position or similar position, work right out of Crawford, handle it all. And basically, that's what she does right here. So again, it's just getting this vision. Sure, we can look at where we're at and what we're doing, but what other businesses would like to move here? You know, what other occupations? What do we want here? It's planning. You've got to know where you're going. You know, what's the saying? Those who you know, fail to plan to fail. I mean, if we're not doing any planning, it's not going to just happen. Our town's not going to grow without planning. It's just not going to happen. So do we want it to grow or not? And then if we do want it to grow, we need a plan, and who's going to be in charge of the plan? Or who's going to help spearhead that? It's got to be an ongoing process that has lots of discussion. You know, everybody needs to be a part of the plan and understand it and know where we're going. Again, just asking for reiteration, but if you go, well, let's think about it some more, or whatever you want, that's fine. That's fine.
Raylene or Barb, do you have any comments on?
This has not
for
been
planning
discussed
commission?
with the planning commission. Jay has commented a couple of times. We have not discussed it at all.
I will hate to interrupt, Raylene, but actually we have discussed it.
No, you have talked to us, but we haven't discussed it.
Because the discussion is not open, I don't know, is that part of our plan? Because when times I've brought it up, it hasn't gone. So I don't mean to jump authority or anything else, but I just want to know, is that a planning commission thing? Are we doing it or not? I can continue to work exactly as we're working. I'll show up with the permit giving, but I really do believe we can do more as a town and as a planning commission, my opinion.
Well, what my comment is there an economic development council for Goffstown?
Yep.
Chris?
Yes.
And how involved are we with that? You know, in Denver, where I worked, of course, it's a big city, but you had to go to the economic development councils to kind of get your foot in the door for these large companies that maybe would hire work-at-home people to live here. That's what my son says. He is a land surveyor in Denver, and he said so many people of his friends would love to live here and work from home, because it's 4 hours from Denver, 2 hours from Rapid. You know, that is a prime he said you've got the infrastructure with our fiber network.
It's in Chadron.
Yeah, so I was going to ask you, have you, had an opportunity to go to a PAD meeting? And PAD is a meeting that happens in Scottsbluff. It's called the Panhandle Area Development District. And if you haven't had a chance to attend, you're more than welcome to attend. I believe they just had their last meeting this last Thursday, or maybe it's this Thursday. I know that I've seen emails just recently. That is our regional development organization that does a lot, and like she said, had helped us create the last comprehensive plan. We do have a more local level of that, which is the NNDC, which is Northwest Nebraska Development Corporation. It is based out of Chadron. I actually serve as vice president on that board, and I've been on that board since I was sworn into council, and it's part of the liaison program that we have through what we have for council. We just said goodbye to Deb Cottier. She just retired. She's been with the program for
Forever.
I was gonna say 20-some years. It's been a long time. And we just said, we just hired somebody new by the name of John Reed to the area. And I'm thoroughly excited to have him on board. I brought him down and helped tour both of them before she left, and as he was starting a couple weeks ago to town, and we visited as many businesses as we could that were open at that day. And he's actually really inspired and excited to be diving more into Crawford than has been done in the past. And I do think that this changeover with leadership at NNDC is we're going to see an impact of that we haven't seen in a while. But I will say, when I became a liaison to that board and I attended my first meeting, that was the first meeting that Crawford has attended in years.
I bet it has.
Years. And so I appreciate your concern, I appreciate your enthusiasm, and I appreciate the ideas you're bringing to the board. I think these are all ideas that the majority of us have close to our heart and want also. I know it's something that I've been working towards the entire time I've been in office. It can be really challenging to feel like you see those real obvious marks of progression though. And so I don't want to deter you by any means, but I don't want you to give up when it gets tough either, because it's going to continue to be tough.
No, I'm not giving up. All I'm doing here tonight is, again, making this a public statement, because I think some things need to be acknowledged. I think everybody knows them. And it's, do we as a town, in coordination, want to move ahead? I'm going to continue to do whatever I do as an individual, and nothing stops that. But it's a lot better if we're all working in concert and all have some kind of common vision. So that's it. I mean, I guess I'm kind of going, so do we take a vote, or do we need a discussion? Or
I'm not sure what you think we need to vote on. We
just
do have
reiteration
that this is actual plans in place that we've had for the last couple of years, and it is our responsibility to make sure that we come up with new plans every 10 years. I mean, it's part of what our local government requires us to do in order to make sure that we stay on task for being able to continue to provide the infrastructure and the basic requirements that we do for our residents. So those do exist. If we want to branch out from those, I don't think that's a problem. I don't think that it needs anything specific. I think it's something that you can completely do from your position within the Planning Commission, your position as a businessman in town, your position just as a resident.
Well, one thing, and I think this is more tourism, and I suppose it's been 20, 25 years ago, and I went with Deb Cottier, we went to Denver. It was more tourism, but you could do the same thing for business. And we went over the whole town of Denver with a packet with brochures in it of our area.
They do that annually, and they just got done doing that a month ago, because I went to that tourism meeting. That was a state meeting. I met with the state representatives about a month and a half ago. I had a state meeting with them and our regional mayors and supervisors, I guess is how you can put it. And then I went ahead and attended the local, or the more regional meeting that has, we had Sydney show up, and we had, all the different area communities from the Panhandle show up, and they talked about what their goals were. But they talked about going and doing, I think there's a big meet and greet that happens in Omaha that they were working on attending. There was another one that was in Denver that they worked on attending. And that's another reason why we try and advertise in the big books that talk about discovering Northwest Nebraska. And they push a lot of that, our region as a whole
I think
on
there
our
were
behalf.
like 20-some of us that went,
Mhm.
and we each picked a section of Denver,
Yeah.
and we covered the whole town in 2 days, I think.
Mhm.
It was kind of fun.
A perfect place, having gone there many, many years, is the stock show. Get a
Yep.
booth at the stock show and hand out information on Crawford. And, you know, cause it's not just ranch people there, it's people like me that went to the stock show to look at cowboys, you know, so it's lots of people, but, you know, and it's lots of businesses, my bosses all went and.
And our tourism representation has actually went to the Rapid City Stock Show, which happens in January. They represent us very well, and that was part of when they went to Denver. They went to the Denver Stock Show,
Yeah.
and they represented us very well down there too.
You know, we probably have to sign up for a booth at the National Western Stock Show, but I think that would be a possibility.
I think we need to clean up.
Mike that owned the cook shack used to be an ambassador for this area, and he was awesome at it. And maybe that's something we should look into, is that designating somebody to do an ambassador, be an ambassador, to go to these things, because there are, you know, that's our biggest problem, is getting advertisement out to people, knowing that we're here, we're off on a side road, and people come through here and go, oh, what a beautiful area, we love the tranquility, we love the trees, we love the area, so maybe that's what we need to do, you know, if you weren't interested in building this town, is have an ambassador to represent Crawford.
Well, we got a new business moving to town.
Yeah.
Are you planning on having an employee up there?
Yeah, and there's somebody that's looking to potentially rent some more office space there, so I have a two-part deal where it should be handy there, so. Yeah, that's the plan, is to have somebody there, because, yeah, where I have to bounce between, you know, like, I look at my business where most of what I sell, which got me to the point where I am today, is like corn seed. There's not a lot of corn up here. We look at Alliance Hemingford area, Rushville, H Springs, that's where the bulk of my business is, but as I've grown into the animal supplement side, the fertilizer side, the biological side, the herbicide side, like that's allowed me to branch out and get bigger, and I still have a fair amount of business up here, but, yeah, I definitely would need somebody to man that, but, and I guess, I was gonna piggyback off that, I had a couple thoughts pop up, yeah, obviously, like, just where, Mom has a guest ranch out there, or by Coastal Park, like, I know people are getting to the area, but I know we're not capturing their dollars all the time, because there's days where I'm out there in the summertime, there's 50, 60 cars that go in and out of Coastal Park. How many of those cars are sticking around this area? How many of those cars are staying here? I don't know, there's no way, because it's a free national park, cool, that's maybe one of the worst disservices they do to this area, is because we're not capturing any revenue off of that whatsoever. It's really, really disheartening to see that. But then I was just gonna say this too, the available lots from, unused properties is kind of like, the dilapidated properties, where I don't wanna open the can of worms, because we could be here till midnight talking about that, but like, you drive through town, and one hand, I'm glad to buy that property just because it was an eyesore every time you drive by, and I'm very happy to go take down all that stuff, but, you just drive along the outskirts of town, and, somebody that wants to come stay, or maybe do a business here, or live here, you're gonna go, oh man, like this, everywhere you drive on the outskirts of town is just ugly, and
That's
so it's
what I
like,
think needs to
how do you-
happen, we need to clean it up.
how do you fix that? I mean, I know that's a
If
big.
they just mow their weeds, it would help.
Yeah.
Or get the mattress off the vehicle, I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, like I said, I don't want to.
You can't fix ugly.
I don't even know who that is, but.
I know it's a topic of discussion for another day, but it's just, it's like, is there a pool, like?
Yeah, why would you move here? I mean, we could bring business here, but I don't look at it
Yeah, is there a
first.
pool of
Then I
money
say,
that you
well,
can buy said property, just like, hey, you're gonna get it $10,000.
Right.
See you later, we're gonna tear that thing
I
down.
did that once.
Then the city owns it, get the money.
I didn't take Lower Street, but I would have bailed.
I think it's swing on that.
Anyways,
Friends.
yeah, didn't want to get started on that, because it was a
Speak up.
long
Go
conversation.
spend the night with a few hours in the.
So what I'm hearing is, if I'm correct, is that things are fine as they are. we'll get some brochures and we'll kind of keep going like we're going. There's no, like, we're okay with it, okay. I mean, I'm not being sarcastic, I'm trying
I
to.
can't hear it for you, but that was not what I
Well, I'm not
shared with you.
necessarily
But I did
speaking
share
comparative
that
to
you
you.
are within your means for what you have and the setup that you're in and what you're a part of to do what you've asked.
Well, I think you need to go down to Pat and to Northwest Development Company too. I've been to those meetings.
I'm sure they're great meetings, yeah.
Yeah.
I was hoping that maybe Crawford itself would take a little more oomph, for its own destiny rather, just a moment.
Please
Just
give
a
me an
moment.
example of what you mean then, because I'm not fully understanding what you're requesting of the city then if you're requesting more
A
than what.
reiteration that it wants planning, because I'm saying respectfully that we don't really do planning. We have a book that has a comprehensive plan, but it's never referred to, it's never studied, it's never, there are no measures. Are we getting there? How are we doing this year? It's a dead document.
What are our priorities?
What are our priorities?
Exactly.
Are we reaching? They have to be measurable goals. If you wanna lose weight, you've gotta say, well, okay, I wanna do these exercises, I'm gonna cut down this food, and you measure at the end of a month, at the end of 6 months. And we don't have any measures that I know of. Maybe that's what we need is more transparency about what's going on in the town. But what I see is a town that's a little bit worried, a little bit self-satisfied, and like knows that there's problems, but are we really going to be able to get to them, or I don't know. And maybe there are things going on behind the scenes. I see a little smile there, so maybe there's stuff going on behind the scenes. But it's certainly not open to the people who live here. I don't really know what's the plan for the blighted areas. We don't ever discuss the blighted areas. What is the plan? I bet 10 years from now, if we don't start working on them.
So
because
how do
10
you
years
start,
from now,
how do you think we ought to start working on it?
Grants. Yeah, grants. I think we need.
But
these
then
were some-
you need to talk to Pat and Northwest, because they're the ones.
Why would I talk to
Because
Northwest?
they know where to go.
So you can find it out. It's freely available information.
I don't have time.
Well, okay, so people don't have time. We've had failures in the past.
I'm only
Well,
77.
you know, I'm not that way. I'm gonna continue to do things. It would help if I could say, and you say I can't do this, well, I'll do it. If I can say I'm worth the planning commission in Crawford and we can get, these grants going. We were talking about in the parks, with the trees, that when they were bringing the trees, they're like, well, do you have a tree board? We're like, no, well, it would help a little bit if you had a tree board, but we can probably work around it. See, these are things that we need in place, and it helps to be able to say, yeah, we're moving, we've got a plan, and this is our intention. Then people listen. But if you're like, well, nothing ever comes our way, I don't know, we haven't had any luck. Got any, your $1 million grant box there? Is it open?
Well, the reason that there isn't a tree board is because I think you guys' board is probably the only one we have that's full.
I understand
No
that.
one will, are you full?
One term.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, nursing-
So,
nursing
yeah,
home board's
planning
one.
commission is the only one that's full. The nursing home board is missing, I mean, we don't have the volunteers to fill. I'd be more than happy to appoint a tree board if that would help us out, but we have no volunteers.
Well, but this also gets to a point here. It says, slow decline is harder to recover from than crisis. Crisis, Crawford does pretty well with. Things break down, we fix it, But it goes, once population dips too low, civic capacity collapses. That's what you're describing. Population is too low, people are on too many boards, they're too overworked. Things don't get done. The
Hey,
civic capacity is
Our
collapsing.
Stanton son moved back and does concrete and he's swamp.
And I will probably use them someday.
And also, part of the problem for Crawford is the age of our population.
70% are
Yeah,
basically.
our seniors,
That's
and,
me.
they've been there, done all of
And
the following.
does that augur well for the future?
Yeah.
Probably not. If we're not
No.
bringing young families here and kids, people do, myself included, will probably fade on out.
But I'd like to bring up, Ashley had 14 volunteers for the library. So there are people that are willing to be volunteers. But I think part of the problem is we don't put it out there. Hey, you know, I'm putting in a tree, can you come help on Saturday or whatever, you know? I think there needs to be more communication. Because I think if she gets 14 people to paint an entryway, that's pretty good, you know? They are there.
I disagree. City council's been advertising for help for the last 2 years. About zero.
Yeah.
There's 6 of us left.
Yeah.
And we're about full. So I mean, yeah, and then you look at the pool committee, there's what, 14 of us on there?
Yeah, there you go.
So what you're asking for, Jay, isn't that already in the ordinance for the planning commission as their duties?
I think what Jay, correct me if I'm wrong, I think what he's asking for is the planning commission to have a little more leeway other than just approving, disapproving permits.
But the planning commission already has that. You guys already have the authority for that. You already have that as part of what you can do within the planning commission. So there's nothing to add if it already is there.
Therefore, then he just needs to put it on the agenda for their meeting to discuss.
And as they work through things, they're more than welcome to bring them to us and make all the progress that you'd like. And that is okay. It exists.
It helps to have that, oomph from the city council, because what we've got right now is we meet.
There is no need for us to rewrite ordinance that already exists.
We're not rewriting ordinance. You are just reiterating, yes, those are your powers.
Yes.
You don't have to reiterate it like that if you don't want.
Okay, but you're asking me to.
And I said you don't have to. That's what I also said.
Okay. Well,
That's what
it
they
is
put
already
forward.
7:43, unless we have something new, we're starting to turn circles. So you're more than welcome to bring it up again, but I think we've had it for tonight. If you don't have anything else that's specific you'd like us to answer tonight, then we'll go ahead and move forward.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. We'll go ahead and move forward. 13, approved bills, claims, requisition orders, and transfers.
So moved.
And a second?
Steve, Paige, yeah, yes.
Motion for adjournment?
I want to stay in the
Paige, second?
The rodeo's on, let's go.
Who would like to second?
Last
Dean,
one.
thank you.
Dean,
Huh? It's on tonight.
Yeah.
In the basketball game, ice one,
We are adjourned. Thank you.
with our granddaughter.